What's up, this Rydah J Klyde. I'm sitting here with the Thizzler. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe below. Like if you're familiar with the Hood Fellas album, or the Mob Figaz album we put out, Johnny Cash was on there. He was in a group called the Hood Fellas. And I think his manager knew, we had run into his manager. I think it was Jack and them had met his manager, because he was also on Jack's first album as the Hood Fellas. They was a group. It was him and VIP and I forget my other cousin's name, but Free VIP too. And when I went to mess with Dre to get on THIZZ, Dre's thing was he wanted to build THIZZ to be like a label. This was around the time Jay-Z had Rockefeller and all of this, you know what I'm saying? Dre wanted the top artists in the Bay Area on THIZZ. That was his whole objective. That was his whole reason for reaching out to me. He really wanted the Mob Figaz albums, but I think he seen when that wasn't gonna go. He was really reaching for, you know, I came out there and did what I did. So I would always play Dre Cash, that verse from the Hood Fellas songs and that Mob Figaz album. That's what's so crazy. Like I would play Dre that nigga shit and he'd be like, boy, that boy dope, woo, woo. Cause I was kind of trying to like, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to build this team. I know some dope niggas, nigga. What the heck? This is one of the guys. And it's crazy because the day before me and Dre was going to Kansas City for that show, where he didn't make it back from, I ran into Cash 2 days prior to that in Richmond at a car lot. I was going up there, I was trying to buy a car and the motherfuckers had my cash. Was trying to give me a check back and I wasn't going for it. And I ran into Cash up there and I was telling him how Dre was trying to start this label and woo, woo, woo. I'm finna go to Kansas City, we finna do the show. When I get back, I'm gonna bring you through the house, introduce y'all, woo, woo, woo. And we ended up taking that trip to Kansas City and that bullshit happened, came back and we just took it from there. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much how he came over to THIZZ. Trying to keep going on what Dre was trying to start before he left. So that's how that shit popped off like that. I don't even remember pinpointed like the exact time, but if I remember correctly, I want to say the first time I met him was when he was recording for one of the Rompilation albums. I think it was 3, 2, 1, I think it was 3, Rompilation 2. And when he got out of jail, he paroled in Sacramento. So, you know, me and my guys was already out in Sacramento fucking around too, AP and Frico. And they was already dealing with Dre. They already knew Dre, but he would always ask for me to come out there to Sacramento. And that one particular time I came out there and he had a studio out there. And I think that's the first night we did a song. It was me, him, and Frico, and it went on the Rompilation album. And from that point on, me and Frico was supposed to do an album on THIZZ. And you know what I'm saying? This was way before THIZZ is what y'all know it is. This was like, you know what I'm saying? Pre-THIZZ day, pre-THIZZ days. So I think that was the first time I met him, was probably 2000, early 2000s. I had dropped a few compilations and shit. Didn't know really what was gonna happen with the Mob Figaz album, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody was doing their own thing at the time. So I kind of fell back into the streets, you know what I'm saying? And got into a car accident, high speed chasing. And my homeboy who was driving, he ended up getting killed. I woke up in the hospital with rods in my legs all fucked up. And not long after that, that's when I called Kilo. I was like, man, I'm ready to come out there. I ain't doing nothing out here. So it kind of started from that. And that wasn't long after I had met him. It was probably about a year or 2 after. And I went to Sacramento and that's where Dre was at. And from that day when I made up my mind to go out there, that's where I was for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Me and Dre was like kind of the only one staying out in Sac. You know, so when Dre was out, Dre was with me. I was with Dre, it was vice versa. Like he was saying in his songs. You know what I'm saying? We was in Sacramento. Macramento, as you should call it. When we was a Mob Figaz, I was just Rydah of the Mob Figaz. It wasn't J Klyde, you know what I'm saying? Rydah J Klyde. So when we was doing the first album, the Fly Gangsta album with Dre, he was like, he didn't really want too much. He didn't even want to put me Like if it was a fan that knew me just from being with him, like Rydah J Klyde, he didn't want to have Rydah. You see, I didn't have Rydah other Mob Figaz on my first album cover, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted a whole different identity as far as my solo stuff coming out. I didn't want to be Rydah of the Mob Figaz. So we just put the Rydah J Klyde on there, just for, you know what I'm saying, just to stand out a little bit more. Well, I've been through many names, but I got the Klyde from, you know what I mean, just a few instances that happened. And, you know, Bonnie and Clyde, so the Clyde kind of stuck with me. And then, I mean, I wouldn't really make up my name. I was giving my name, basically, just if you want to say it. Then the next day I came to the hood, my partner said he boned. Yeah, last night was extravagant, Rydah, and then I gained the Rydah. So we put it together, Rydah J Klyde. It was like when the first Mob Figaz album came out, I was just Rydah. It wasn't the J Klyde, but J Klyde is what they knew me from the street. So when I came to Dre, he knew me of both, like Clyde, and so he put it together, Rydah J Klyde. And that's where that shit started from, Rydah J Klyde. It's kind of strange, but it's one of one. It's crazy because it was a few times we was trying to get back in the studio to work on the Mob Figaz album. A little shit would come into play, and then we'll stop. And then when that happened, it's just, I know with me, myself, I don't think we should do it. I don't want to do it. Another Mob Figaz album without the Jack here when there was plenty of time for us to do it while he was here. But, you know, we all keeping the shit going because we was all individual artists anyway. So it's not hard to keep the shit moving when it was five of us, like Voltron, you know how Voltron was. The red one might be over here, green one over there, but you still all one. So it's not that hard to do it, you know what I'm saying? Like how Hustlers dropped this album, mine coming out, APs, that shit wasn't even done on purpose. You know what I'm saying? It's the universe working with us, baby. You know, we didn't do that on purpose, so we know what we gotta do. Like her said, it's an obligation. We didn't start out doing this shit for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's not hard to do to keep up with it or keep this shit alive. You just gotta stick to the script and what we've been doing. Let it roll through, baby. I had dropped a few compilations and shit. Didn't know really what was gonna happen with the Mob Figaz album, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody was doing their own thing at the time. So I kind of fell back into the streets, you know what I'm saying? And got into a car accident, high speed chasing. And my homeboy who was driving, he ended up getting killed. I woke up in the hospital with rods in my legs all fucked up. And not long after that, that's when I called Kilo. I was like, man, I'm ready to come out there. I ain't doing nothing out here. So it kind of started from that. And that wasn't long after I had met him. It was probably about a year or two after. And I went to Sacramento, and that's where Dre was at. And from that day when I made up my mind to go out there, that's where I was for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Me and Dre was like kind of the only one staying out in Sac. You know, so when Dre was out, Dre was with me. I was with Dre, it was vice versa, like he was saying in his songs. You know what I'm saying? We was in Sacramento. Macramento, as you should call it. It was a lot going on, actually, because that was around the time Hus called his Fed case. You know what I'm saying? And I was actually leaving that house where, you know what I'm saying, we had a lot going on when the squad car got on me and my partner. And, you know, it was just a lot of shit going on in the town at that time, so I needed a breath of fresh air anyway, so it was calling for me to come out there. And man, that shit just took off from there. I didn't leave Sac till a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying? I was in and out. Oh, yeah, it was real, man. It was real.